Snow River City. Zhou and company had just walked out of the spatial teleportation array when they heard deafening battle cries and cannon fire outside. Among them were the monsters of the monster army and the soldiers from Snow River City. At this moment, Snow River City's city lord, Zhang Zhe, had already received the news that the Aurora Kingdom's king was about to arrive, so he had been waiting here for a long time. When Li Yuangan, Zhou, and the others appeared from the spatial teleportation array, the other party immediately walked over. "Greetings, Your Majesty, City Lord of Snow River City, Zhang Zhe," Zhang Zhe said respectfully. He was wearing a snow-white official uniform with golden edges. His face was kind, and his hair was black and white. There were obvious wrinkles at the corners of his eyes. He was clearly old. At that moment, the Elder One looked at Li Yuangan in front of him with a surprised expression. According to the news from his friends in the imperial court, after His Majesty found out that his only daughter, Princess Fengyu, had been assassinated, he was very depressed. In less than a day, his hair and beard had turned white. After he learned of this news, he was originally very worried about His Majesty's physical and mental condition. However, when he saw His Majesty in front of him now, how was he like what his friend said? Not only was his hair jet black, but his skin was also glowing. He even looked much younger than before. If not for the fact that he had followed His Majesty for decades and was certain that the Emperor in front of him was the one he was familiar with, he almost thought that His Majesty had been replaced. At this moment, Li Yuangan saw his old minister looking at him in surprise. Naturally, he knew what the other party was surprised about. Even though he was experienced, he could not help but feel happy. Restoration was good. How long has the war been going on? How's the war going? He didn't think too much about it. Li Yuangan asked directly. The battle had just begun. However, the enemy has a large number of forces and is very well equipped in all aspects of war. Even though I ordered everyone in Snow River City to become soldiers and barely gathered 200,000 soldiers, I'm afraid I won't be able to hold them off for long. Your Majesty, it's too dangerous here. I feel that as long as Your Majesty is safe, the Aurora Kingdom will never be destroyed. Therefore, I implore Your Majesty to prioritize the king's physique and the kingdom and return to the capital to oversee the rear, towards the end. Zhang Zhe said solemnly. Li Yuangan shook his head. I know your intentions, but I have my own plans. By the way, I brought a young friend with me this time. Where is he? He looked at the spot beside him and realized that Zhou, Wu Xian, and Che Qi had already left. Your Majesty, I'm on this side of the wall. At this moment, Zhou's voice sounded in Li Yuangan's mind. Mental communication? He still had such a strange method? Li Yuangan was surprised. Then he told Zhou's location. When Zhang Zhe heard this, he immediately brought his emperor to the city wall of the Snow River City. On the walls of the Snow River City, when Li Yuangan and Zhang Zhe came up, they saw Zhou standing in front of the city wall and looking at the battlefield outside. They also looked over. All kinds of fog monsters that were like a vast sea surged over from all directions, surrounding the Snow River City and attacking continuously. At this moment, the Snow River City gave Zhou the feeling that it was a lone boat sailing on the boundless sea. It was possible that they would be blasted into the bottom of the sea by accident, the tsunami formed by these 2 million fog monsters, and die. Zhou secretly held his breath. Was this the pressure of a million-level war? Previously, he had seen the scene of 500,000 faceless corpse King Core besieging Kingdom Beginning City. At that time, he thought that his endurance was already strong enough. However, when he saw the scene in front of him, he realized that his knowledge was still a little lacking. Compared to these 2 million fog monsters, 500,000 was really nothing. As for the 200,000 militia that Snow River City barely managed to gather, they were even less intimidating on the battlefield. Defeat. It was only a matter of time. Your Majesty, since you're here, I'll leave the command of this place to you, Zhang Zhe said respectfully. In his early years, he had followed Li Yuangan to battle everywhere. Naturally, he knew that His Majesty's military talent far exceeded his own. Seeing this scene, His Majesty would definitely take over the command. However, to his surprise, Li Yuangan shook his head. Then, his gaze became resolute. There's nothing to command. All soldiers and citizens, let's fight to the death. His voice was cold. All the living beings who had fought with the fog monster knew. Other than a few factions that were willing to accept captives and traitors, most of the factions would not show mercy to the living beings of the High Continent. Once the war started, the outcome was either defeating the fog monster faction and surviving, or being killed by the fog monster faction. It was almost impossible for the fog monster faction to pity him and let him leave or surrender to the fog monster faction and survive. Therefore, Li Yuangan did not hesitate at all. In any case, they would die if they fought, and they would die if they surrendered. Then what reason was there to not fight to the death? Zhang Zhe naturally knew about this matter, so he agreed without hesitation. Then, he sent someone to the soldiers to convey His Majesty's intentions. At this moment, Li Yuangan suddenly looked at Zhou. The meaning in his eyes was very simple. Where's the help you promised yesterday? Zhou also saw the other party's gaze and naturally knew what he meant. He smiled and said, Your Majesty, please allow me to send my soldiers out of the city to fight. Also, let my soldiers enter and exit Snow River City freely. Don't let the Supreme Barrier stop us. That's your soldier. You decide, Li Yuangan said. Then I'll find the right time to open the city gate later. At that time, your soldiers can rush out. Zhang Zhe immediately added. He became curious. What did His Majesty and this young man want to do? There's no need to open the gates. Zhou shook his head. Then he looked at Wu Xian. When Wu Xian saw Zhou's gaze, he immediately got the 500 white platinum tier soldiers he had brought over. After seeing the 500 white platinum tier soldiers, Li Yuangan had long known of their existence, so he was not surprised at all. However, Zhang Zhe was very surprised. 500 white platinum tier soldiers. Even in the entire Aurora Kingdom, it was considered a powerful force. This young man seemed to be extraordinary. What was he going to do? In a while, you'll jump off the city wall and charge into the battlefield for 30 breaths. In 30 breaths, immediately return to the Snow River Giant City and come to me. Take care of your own safety. There's no need to kill too many people in this battle. The most important thing is to protect yourself and return safely, Zhou ordered. His insight defection could only be used when his forces fought against the enemy forces. Therefore, they had to send troops to kill. These 500 white platinum tier soldiers were all elites among his soldiers. As long as he did not have a death wish, it was not a problem for him to do such a small thing. Yes, my lord. The 500 white platinum tier soldiers immediately said respectfully. It was the duty of soldiers to obey orders even though they did not know what their lord wanted to do. They only cared about doing it and naturally did not think too much about it. Then they jumped onto the city wall. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the other soldiers of the Snow River City, they directly jumped off the city wall that was more than 100 meters tall. Boom! 500 white platinum tier soldiers landed on the ground. Some soldiers directly withstood the impact of the fall with their bodies. There were also soldiers who controlled the power of wind, lightning, water, fire, and earth and landed lightly. For a moment, many soldiers and fog monsters on the battlefield looked at this group of mysterious soldiers who had suddenly arrived on the battlefield. The 500 soldiers did not care about their gazes. They landed on the ground and charged forward. Under the nurturing of the military merit system, their various skills and methods had long exceeded the range of ordinary soldier types. Could be said that, excluding the professional skills they already had, each of them had at least 10 to 20 non-class skills exchanged from the military merit system. These skills, it was enough for them to face all kinds of dangerous situations. Naturally, this included the current situation. Therefore, in the eyes of the other soldiers of the Snow River City, these 500 soldiers were simply like divine soldiers descending from the sky. Not only was his strength terrifying, there were also all kinds of methods. It was even a little fancy. They even saw a soldier using a crossbow. When the fog monster approached and wanted to engage in close combat, he casually threw the bow and arrow to the ground. Then he took out a snow-white saber from his waist. At the same time, his entire body was quickly covered in a layer of grayish-white stone armor. Then, he engaged in close combat with the fog monster. In the end, he slashed it to death. Then, he picked up the crossbow and continued to shoot. Well, as a poison crossbow soldier, in order to prevent himself from being ambushed by the enemy, it was very reasonable for him to learn Gust's chaotic slash to counterattack and also learn the stone armor technique to save his life, right? On the walls of the Snow River City, when Li Yuangan and Zhang Zhe saw the battle between the 500 soldiers, they looked at each other. This little guy was too rich. Was the skill book free? The two of them muttered in their hearts. These types of soldiers, even Li Yuangan, as the ruler of the kingdom, could not nurture it. After all, he did not have that many skill books for the soldiers to learn. At this moment, they saw Zhou Zhou raise his right hand in front of the city wall. Yellow gold tier Lord Talent. Insight defection. Activate. Boom. Invisible fluctuations that only Zhou Zhou could see instantly enveloped the 2 million foggy monsters around the Snow River City. The next second, the bodies of more than 200,000 fog monsters stiffened. Then, the expression in their eyes changed. They began to pretend to fight while quietly retreating. It was still very obvious that more than 1/10 of the fog monsters had suddenly stopped attacking. Not only were the two scarlet heroes guarding the back stunned. On the Snow River City, Li Yuangan and Zhang Zhe, who had also noticed this change, were also stunned. The enemy's attack has suddenly weakened? What's going on? Both of them were stunned. Then, they thought of something and suddenly looked at Zhou Zhou, who was standing in front of the city wall. An unbelievable thought appeared in their minds. Did he do that? However, he only raised his hand. On the other side, after Zhou Zhou activated Insight Defection, he looked at the Lord Talent hint. Prompt. You have activated your Lord's exclusive talent, Insight Defection. Insight Defection has taken effect. Lord Talent notification. A total of 124,765 black iron tier fog monsters, 57,912 green bronze tier fog monsters, 31,632 white silver tier fog monsters, 18,231 yellow gold tier fog monsters, 5,712 white platinum tier fog monsters, 112 diamond tier fog monsters, and 5 extraordinary tier fog monsters have betrayed their lord's faction and become your loyal subordinates. Zhou Zhou looked excited. Before he came, he had already made a big estimate in his heart and knew how many targets he could incite to Insight Defection this time. However, when this moment really came, he could not help but feel excited. This was a total of 241,369 subordinates of the fog monster. His Blazing Sun Army and Monster Army only had a total of 220,000 soldiers. This Insight Defection was more than what he had. It was ridiculous. I didn't wake up at 3 in the morning to instigate Insight Defection in vain. I've made a killing this time. Zhou Zhou was overjoyed. This trip to the Aurora Kingdom was not in vain. After he returned to the territory, he would farm the monster ranch again. At that time, his military strength would completely exceed 500,000. This number was already half the military strength of a standard beginner kingdom. I'm getting closer and closer to the strength of a basic kingdom, Zhou Zhou thought. Soon, the 500 soldiers jumped back onto the city wall. Reporting to my lord, the mission is completed, they said respectfully. Well done. Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Did you do this? At this moment, Li Yuangan's surprised voice sounded behind him. Only after hearing His Majesty's words did Zhang Zhe realize that this extraordinary young man was the hot topic of discussion recently, the Lord of the Blazing Sun. As a lord of a foreign land, he was able to become famous in his kingdom. From the looks of it, there was indeed a reason. Zhang Zhe sighed. I did it. This is what I meant by small help. However, I can only use this help once a day. If I want to use it again, I'll have to wait until tomorrow. If your Majesty can resist until tomorrow, I can do it again then, Zhou Zhou said. No matter what, He had to fleece this kind of good wool a few more times. No problem. I've already secretly sent the news to the Titan Kingdom and Netherbark Kingdom. If there are no surprises, they'll be here today. With their help, it's still easy to last until tomorrow. Towards the end, Li Yuangan couldn't help but laugh. He would never have thought that the savior of his kingdom would become his archenemy. Then please give the order to activate the spatial teleportation arrays. I'm going back with my subordinates, Zhou said. Sure. Li Yuangan nodded regretfully. He really wanted to stay with this young man because the other party had really given him too many surprises. However, the activities of the Lord of all races set up by the Supreme will could not be underestimated. He could not ruin the Lord of the Blazing Sun's plans. Then, he ordered the various places to activate the spatial teleportation arrays. Wherever they passed, they were all allowed to pass without any reason. Seeing this, Zhou bade farewell to the two of them and went down the city tower. Then, he did not immediately rush to the spatial teleportation array. Instead, he left the Snow River City and flew in an empty direction. In an uninhabited wasteland outside the Snow River City, the 240,000 fog monsters that had been incited by Zhou's insight defection were gathered here. They were led by 5 powerful extraordinary tier fog monsters. Greetings, my lord. When Zhou and the others appeared, the 5 extraordinary tier fog monsters immediately said respectfully, "Did you have a smooth journey? Did the 2 scarlet heroes notice your departure?" Zhou asked. It went well. And because the 4-armed Mara King, Taro, and the Ice Soul Arrow Ghost, Wuxin extended the battle line, we chose to avoid their gazes and leave from the battlefield behind the Snow River City, so they didn't notice us for the time being. But as time goes on, they should find out soon enough. An extraordinary tier intermediate grade 3-headed demon flood dragon deputy commander said respectfully. It was the most powerful fog monster among the 5 of them. He was also their leader for the time being. Zhou acknowledged. There was no time to lose. It was time to leave. With these 200,000 new subordinates, I should be safer if I participate in the final battlefield, right? Zhou thought to himself. Then he willed. A black ship appeared in the sky. It was the Black Ghost. Yesterday, when he planned to use insight defection, he had asked Wanya to come over. It was all for this moment. Wanya, bring us all into the spaceship and return to the Snow River City, Zhou ordered. Yes, my lord. Wanya's voice sounded in Zhou's mind. Then, it put everyone and the monsters into the spaceship and returned to the Snow River City. Then, it used the spatial teleportation array to return to Blazing Sun City. More than an hour later, Zhou and company finally returned to Blazing Sun City. When he got off the spaceship, he saw batches of subordinates of the fog monsters flying down from the spaceship. Then, Wuxin sent people to lead them to the monster army base in the city. Zhou looked at the many subordinates of the fog monster and then at the black ghost in the sky. Then, he frowned slightly as if he had discovered a problem. The black ghost was a little small, he thought. The limit of the black ghost could accommodate 200,000 people to live and survive in the spaceship for a year. Just now, he had placed 240,000 subordinates of the fog monster into the spaceship and filled it up. Not to mention that there were more than 200,000 soldiers in his territory. Obviously, the current Black Ghost was already starting to be unable to meet the needs of his troops. Should I upgrade Black Ghost to elementary grade? He couldn't help but think. The Black Ghost was undoubtedly the most convenient means of transportation for him. With the Black Ghost, the efficiency of him conquering other territories had increased by at least 10 times. Therefore, it was not impossible to upgrade it. In any case, it was only a creation of the green bronze tier Lord Talent, gift of the Machina. It would not take many Lord Talent crystal fragments to advance to the white silver tier. Then, he looked at his Lord Talent crystal fragments and realized that he had exactly 157 green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments. He could indeed fuse them into a white silver tier Lord Talent origin divine crystals. When Zhou saw this, he first asked Wu Xian to make arrangements for these recruits. Then he began to call out in his heart, Wanya is here, great lord. Wenya replied immediately. Zhou fell silent for a few seconds as though he didn't know what to say. After a long while, he said, "You know that you're here because of my Lord talent too, right? Now, I have a chance to increase my Lord talent regarding the Black Ghost. But will you still be here after I level up?" He had spent a lot of time with Wenya and they had developed some friendship. If Wenya really disappeared because he upgraded his Lord talent, Zhou might give up on upgrading. After all, he only wanted better transportation. This kind of question was not a judgment question with only one option. For example, on the World Channel, Zhou remembered that a lord had said that the neighboring country where his territory was located was a kingdom established by the intelligent life forms of the Machina race. He might be able to find another way to solve this problem if he thought of a way himself. Therefore, since this could be done, then why did he have to make Wenya disappear? There's an 80% chance that Wenya will continue to exist. There's still a 20% chance that Wenya will be replaced by a higher-level intelligent life form. After Wenya found out about Zhou's problem, she immediately replied concisely, "Can't you be sure?" Zhou frowned slightly. "Are you worried about me, my lord?" Wenya suddenly asked. "Yeah, why?" Zhou was stunned before saying, "It's nothing. Wenya just feels very happy." There was a happy smile in Wenya's voice. Then she said, "Wenya suggests that the Lord upgrade his Lord talent. Because 80% is only Wenya's conservative estimate. This success rate might be higher." Okay, Wenya had already said so. Zhou was not a hesitant person. Upon hearing this, he returned to his Lord Manor. In the Lord Manor, in the study, Zhou took out 100 green bronze tier Lord talent crystal fragments and placed them on the table. Then, he fused them into a white silver tier Lord talent origin divine crystal. Then he chose to use it. A text notification appeared. As you have 3 green bronze tier Lord talents at the same time, Gnome Alchemy Workshop, Gift of the Machina, and Fighting God Full-Time Master. Please choose one to advance to. I choose to advance to the Gift of the Machina. Zhou's gaze paused on the Lord talent of Fighting God's Full-Time Master for a few seconds before he decided. Even though it was good to be a Fighting God Full-Time Master, Zhou had not even used the 2 free classes that came with it, so he naturally did not need to level up for the time being. Speaking of which, this Lord talent was really difficult to choose. If only it could change class at will. If that was the case, Zhou would now take up 2 class jobs and use it. Unfortunately, it could not be replaced at will. There were such restrictions. Zhou naturally couldn't choose 2 classes to take on the job. He would think about it when he met someone suitable in the future. In any case, he was not in a hurry to use them just as Zhou was thinking. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent has been chosen. Upgrading in progress. The next second, a familiar warm feeling came from between his eyebrows. A moment later, the warmth faded. A new text notification appeared. Lord Talent upgrade successful. Congratulations, your green bronze tier Lord Talent, Gift of the Machina, has been upgraded to white silver tier Lord Talent, Gift of the Machina. Your mythical tier Lord Talent effect is as follows: Lord Talent, Gift of the Machina, white silver tier, Gift of the Machina. There is a green bronze tier advanced grade spaceship, Starry Night, from the machinery race in your territory. It is a gift from the Machina race to the lords who participated in the fight for the position of Lord of all races. It also represents the friendship between the Machina race and you. Specific talent effect 1. The Starry Night is a testament to your friendship with the Machina race. Your diplomatic relationship with the Machina race has reached friendship. This function will be activated after establishing the kingdom. Specific talent effect 2. The Starry Night is the crystallization of technological wisdom of the mechanical clan. Possessing an extraordinary superior intelligent life Starry Night Goddess, a white silver tier advanced grade folded space function, a white silver tier advanced grade space warehouse, a diamond tier advanced grade spaceship defense, a white platinum tier advanced grade flight speed, a diamond tier advanced grade life detector with anti-reconnaissance radar, diamond tier advanced grade stealth, extraordinary tier advanced grade positioning transmission, Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Research Institute function, and Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Automatic Repair function. Specific Talent Effect 3. Starry Night uses the mist cores as its energy source. 1000 green bronze tier mist cores can allow Black Ghost to operate at full power for 24 hours. After reading it, Zhou's gaze landed on a series of functions on the Starry Night. It had everything that the Black Ghost had, and they were all upgraded versions. It also had things that Black Ghost didn't have. For example, the White Silver Tier Advanced Grade Space Warehouse, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Space Invisibility, Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Teleportation, Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Research Institute functions, and so on. Moreover, there were a total of 10 of them, not just one. Zhou nodded slightly. Not bad. He didn't level up in vain. However, there was no joy on his face. Then, she saw Zhou walk out of the study without a word. He came to the center of the courtyard and looked up at the sky. "Wanya," he said. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. "Wanya is here, great lord." Wanya's voice suddenly sounded. She was still as gentle and moving as before. Not only that, Zhou could hear a special feeling in these simple words. It was as if he was not listening to an intelligent life form but a real girl. Then, Zhou remembered that the other party's intelligent life level had already increased from the original Diamond Tier Advanced Grade to Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade. It was normal to have a sense of real life. "How are you feeling now?" When Zhou said this, a smile finally appeared on his face. He was glad. He was glad that he had not lost his friend. "Wanya feels very good now. Wanya has already reached the level of an Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Intelligent Life Form. I can already do what I couldn't do previously. For example, some low-level technological products. My lord, if you encounter one and feel that it's useful, you can send it to me. As long as it doesn't exceed Wanya's level, Wanya can analyze the other party's internal technology principle and manufacturing method and completely replicate it. The Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Research Institute function in the Starry Night was specially born for this. In addition, Wanya's Starry Night has also made great progress in spatial technology. The Starry Night under Wanya's command can accommodate 1 million soldiers for a year. Moreover, Wanya's new spatial warehouse can also accommodate 100 billion units of basic resources. Wanya's Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Space is invisible, can allow Wanya to hide in space. This way, unless the enemy has a way to sense space or explore space, they will never discover the Starry Night wearing the space invisibility cloak. In addition, Wanya's Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Positioning Teleportation is also very useful. As long as the teleportation anchor is set up at the destination in advance, the Starry Night can quickly be teleported to a place with a teleportation anchor as long as it's less than 1,000,000 kilometers away from this destination. In addition, the Starry Night also has some small functions and new facilities. The Lord can slowly experience and understand these in the future. When you briefly explained her new ability, Zhou's eyes lit up. So this was what Wanya's new functions were like. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. First, let's talk about the function of the Research Institute. After hearing Wanya's words, Zhou immediately thought of using Wanya's Research Institute function to analyze the firearms he had obtained from the military industry lord. After all, it was not good to be controlled by others in terms of firepower. If he could master the craftsmanship of making firearms, he would not have to find the military industry lord to make them in the future. Military firearms were something after all. It was more at ease to use the products he created. Other than firearms, Zhou could also pay attention to whether there were any other technological products from the Cerulean planet when he visited the marketplace from now on. Then, he could buy it and hand it all over to Wanya so that she could analyze and replicate it to increase the technological foundation of his Blazing Sun region. Then, he thought for a while and suddenly asked, "Wanya, then can you analyze the Starry Night? Then, let our territory create the Starry Night in bulk." "Sure. My lord can also arrange some manpower and resources for me. This way, Wanya can build a Starry Night spaceship factory and set up one or more industrial assembly line facilities that can build the Starry Night spaceship. This way, The Lord's territory will have an endless supply of Starry Night spaceships. Wenya said calmly. However, these calm words made Jojo even more surprised. Wenya could even analyze the Starry Night's main body. Moreover, he could build a Starry Night spaceship factory that could continuously produce Starry Night spaceships. Oh my god! Jojo never expected that the white silver-tier Lord talent gift of the Machina would give him such a huge gift, coupled with spatial invisibility, spatial warehouses, and an increase in the upper limit of life forms. These were what Jojo needed the most at the moment. This leveling up was simply a huge profit. So, Wenya, are you controlling these 10 Starry Nights alone now? Jojo calmed down after a long time. Then, he suddenly thought of this and could not help but ask curiously. Yes and no. I have been assigned a Diamond-tier Advanced Grade Artificial Intelligence, the STAR. They have the ability to handle matters no less than a truly intelligent life form. They will help me manage these 10 Starry Nights and handle daily matters. And I'll take care of it when I'm needed. This way, we can save the Starry Nights' resources to the greatest extent in case of emergencies. Wenya trailed off. Jojo clicked his tongue and nodded. He remembered that Wenya was a Diamond-tier Advanced Grade Intelligent life form when she was still the Ghost Princess. He did not expect that after advancing to the Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade, the Starry Night Goddess, she could casually create 10 intelligent programs comparable to intelligent life forms. It seemed that Wenya had really benefited a lot this time. I'll bring you to the final battlefield in a while. Just bring one Starry Night. Jojo thought for a few seconds and said to Wenya, if there was a spaceship like Starry Night on the final battlefield, it would be a great convenience whether it was escaping or chasing after the enemy. Yes, my lord, Wenya said respectfully. Jojo acknowledged. Half an hour later, Jojo first went to the golem lair to collect the 126 golems that had entered. Then, he led his men to clean up the time ruins and monster ranch. With the effect of the perfect loots and his titles, he obtained a total of 233,179 green bronze tier mist cores, 99,635 white silver tier mist cores, 51,223 yellow gold tier mist cores, and 28,726 white platinum tier mist cores, 102,312 soldier type class change certificates, 4,179 Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Book, 4,002 Pudeo Soldiers Recruitment Books, 4,401 Poison Crossbow Soldier Recruitment Books, 384 Elemental Archer Recruitment Books, 13,563 Aurora Cavalry Recruitment Books, 17,500 Violent Storm Spirit Recruitment Books, 17,500 Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificates, 45 Proof of Legion Fragments, 39,631 True Faith Tier Scarlet Crystals, 5,712 Pious Tier Scarlet Crystals, 4,336 Fanatic Tier Scarlet Crystals, 12 White Platinum Tier and Yellow Gold Tier Mount Contracts. As for loots such as the Light Drawing Crystal, the Tree Core Gem, and the Elemental Gem, there was no need to elaborate. He threw the excess loots into the marketplace and sold them. Jojo took a look at the deal that had been announced yesterday. As expected, it was already sold out. He looked at the transaction results. 7,531,697,123 black iron tier mist cores. Jojo's eyes widened. More than 7.5 billion black iron tier mist cores. My god, if he handed it to the Heavenly Mist treasure bag, it would be equivalent to 75 legendary tier mist cores. The 1 million skill books and 1 million equipment yesterday did not disappoint him. A smile appeared on Jojo's face. However, from another perspective, it could also be seen that the lords indeed valued the final battlefield. Then, he stopped thinking and took the 44,029 recruitment books he had just obtained to the location of the Gate of Summoning. Half an hour later, all the new soldiers were summoned and joined the Blazing Sun army under him. At this point, the number of soldiers under Jojo officially exceeded 500,000, reaching 514,408 soldiers. It was comparable to the strength of half a basic kingdom. It was even more than the Aurora Kingdom's current military strength. Moreover, the quality of their military strength might even surpass the Aurora Kingdom's. From now on, I can be considered to have a foundation amongst the kingdoms. Zhou looked at the 500,000 soldiers he controlled and sighed. Once upon a time, when he first found out that the Taiyan Kingdom was not far from his territory and that the Aurora Kingdom, as his neighbor, could not resist the Taiyan Kingdom, he was extremely worried. That was because once the Aurora Kingdom was destroyed and occupied by the Taiyan Kingdom, then the next step was for the Taiyan Kingdom to clean up the surrounding lord factions of the Supreme Will. Zhou's Blazing Sun territory would inevitably become the target of the Taiyan Kingdom. It was for this reason. That was why he would open the Diamond-tier elementary-grade Aurora Kingdom Tower to the Aurora Kingdom. He wanted to use this opportunity to let the Aurora Kingdom hold on for a while longer so that he could stall for time. And now, he had 500,000 elite soldiers under him. There were also 2 heroes with extraordinary tier combat power, Wu Xian and Nazario. There were also Diamond-tier elementary-grade Aurora Kingdom Tower, Greedy Wolf Howling Moon Array, and other trump cards. With this strength, even if the Taiyan Kingdom came in full force, he would have the strength to fight. The shadow that shrouded his head was finally dispersed by him. How could he not be happy? At this moment, he suddenly saw the marketplace function blink. He opened it and realized that the transaction he had just posted had been sold out. He had directly obtained more than 250 million black iron-tier mist cores. This made Zhou raise his eyebrows. So fast. In the past, even though such transaction involving the transfer of soldier types was sold very quickly, it was far inferior to today. It seemed that the opening of the final battlefield had already made many lords unable to sit still. Zhou did not mind. He put these black iron-tier mist cores into the heavenly mist treasure bag and looked at the gate of summoning again, preparing for today's daily summoning. A text notification appeared. Prompt: do you want to summon immediately? Yes, Zhou said. The next second, the gate of summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light. Then a large number of subjects walked out. After more than half an hour, only then did 725 new subjects walk out of the gate of summoning. Greetings, my lord. X7 The 725 new subjects said respectfully. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Zhou nodded. Then, he asked all the professionals to step forward and realized that he had summoned 40 professionals this time. Among them were 1 yellow gold tier intermediate grade cavalryman, 1 yellow gold tier intermediate grade sword shield soldier, 1 yellow gold tier intermediate grade water element mage, and 1 yellow gold tier intermediate grade bowman. There were also 5 yellow gold tier elementary grade Pudeo soldiers, 3 yellow gold tier elementary grade martial artists, and 3 yellow gold tier elementary grade heavy earth shield soldiers. The rest were green bronze tier and black iron tier life professionals and combat professionals. Zhou was a little surprised. Had his luck exploded today? Under normal circumstances, he should only be able to summon 24 professionals. The other professionals that he summoned were all freeloaders. He did not expect to summon 40 professionals in one go today. Moreover, yellow gold tier professionals were all combat professionals and military professionals. Could it be that the gate of summoning knew that he was going to battle on the battlefield of the end today, so it specially sent him a friendly aid? Zhou thought to himself in amusement. However, he knew naturally it was not what he thought. It was most likely because his luck had really exploded that he summoned so many professionals in one go. He didn't mind. He now had more than 57,000 yellow gold tier professionals in the army. Therefore, he was no longer as excited as before when facing these newly summoned yellow gold tier soldiers. He asked a soldier to bring these military professionals to join the Blazing Sun army. Then he went to the Lord shop alone. In front of the Lord shop, Old Zhou. Let's look at today's new stock. Zhou looked at Zhou Qingmin, who was cooking like a family man, and said with a toothache, no matter what, the Lord shop was a unique mythical tier Lord talent. However, this shop owner's behavior made Zhou, who came here every time, feel like he had come to an ordinary small shop. The next time he came, if a wife who claimed to be his wife suddenly appeared beside old Zhou, he would probably not find it funny at all. Coming. Zhou Chengmin washed his hands, took off the apron around his waist, and hurried over. Then he took out 3 items from under the counter. When he saw the first item, Zhou fell silent. That was because it was the Pudeo used by a black iron-tier elementary-grade Pudeo soldiers. In order to prevent himself from seeing wrongly, Zhou specially looked at its attribute information and realized that it was indeed an ordinary black iron-tier elementary-grade Pudeo. Zhou. What else could he say? This was the characteristic of the Lord Shop's products. Random. Zhou could not decide either. He took a deep breath and looked at the other 2 items. He hoped that these 2 items would not disappoint him. The second item was a book. Zhou picked it up and looked at it. Treasure. Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade 36 Forging Styles. Treasure Grade. Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure Effect. After using it, you can obtain the inheritance of the blacksmith class from Master Military Craftsman Jibinvela and immediately become an Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Blacksmith. Treasure Description. A product from the Lord Shop. It contains the skills of an Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Master. When Zhou saw this, he gasped slightly. Good God! A book could actually directly create an Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Blacksmith. What a ridiculous treasure! He wondered how those master blacksmiths who had worked hard their entire lives to become Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade would feel when they saw this treasure. As for the source of this Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade 36 Forging Styles, Zhou thought for a long time before remembering it. He had taken in a talent attracted by reputation rating some time ago. His name was Carter Kim, and he was a yellow gold tier advanced grade blacksmith with the bloodline of a mountain giant. Among the other party's abilities was the Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade 36 Forging Styles skill. At that time, the other party was still a little shy. However, at that time, Zhou did not care about the other party's personality. He even handed over all the blacksmith work in the territory to the other party and let him be in charge of the planning and development of the blacksmith professionals in the territory, as well as the manufacturing and repair of the soldiers' equipment. And the other party did not disappoint him. Now, the manufacturing and repairing of all the equipment of his soldiers were done by him and the blacksmiths under his command. And it was done quite well. Not only was there no problem at all, but there were also occasional innovations that made the soldiers' armor, weapons, and other equipment stronger. In less than half a month, the other party had become the leader in the hearts of all the blacksmiths in his territory. Furthermore, the blacksmith's profession level had also reached white platinum tier advanced grade. It was said that recently, the blacksmiths in the territory were preparing to establish a blacksmith guild that belonged to the Blazing Sun territory. Carter Kim was the only candidate in their hearts for the president. Regarding this matter, Zhou naturally would not interfere, because Carter Kim was also one of his dead loyal subjects. He was naturally willing to support his own people. Zhou looked at the inheritance book and called someone over to call Carter Kim over. Soon, Carter Kim came over. "Greetings, my lord," Carter Kim said respectfully. He was from the gnome race and looked delicate and gentle. If he wasn't the other party's lord, who would have thought that not only did the other party have the wild mountain giant bloodline in his body, but he also had a passionate heart that was passionate about swinging sledgehammers? Zhou did not waste any time and directly handed the treasure to the other party. He was not interested in being a blacksmith. After all, he didn't even have much time to cultivate as a martial artist. How could he have the time to be distracted by other things? Handing it to Jibinvela's last disciple was the best choice. When Carter Kim took the book in a daze and saw its ability, he was stunned. "My lord, this. He was still a young man, but when he suddenly saw this inheritance book, he immediately became a little incoherent. "This is a treasure I just obtained recently. But don't let your imagination run wild. I didn't get it from your teacher," Zhou said. Usually, if such an inheritance book appeared, it meant that either the original person had already given up or might even be dead. Only then would such an inheritance appear. The most typical example was the Heroic Spirit Inheritance of the Night Temple, Heroic Spirit Hall. Of course, There were also very few cases where such a legacy book could be created. For example, if a life form was willing to spend most of their life forcefully writing an inheritance book, it was also possible. Or some extremely expensive secret technique. However, this inheritance book naturally did not belong to the above situation. Carter Kim heaved a sigh of relief. Take this inheritance book and use it. Extraordinary tier experts have appeared in our territory. Therefore, we urgently need an extraordinary tier blacksmith. Control it well. Don't disappoint me. Zhou patted the other party's shoulder. Even though he could use the Lord talent of the King of Loots to obtain extraordinary tier equipment by killing diamond tier enemies, this method was ultimately unstable and too random. It was not as practical as having a true extraordinary tier blacksmith in the territory to specialize in making equipment. The other party was not old, but from what he had done previously, Zhou was still willing to entrust him with important tasks. Yes, my lord. I will not let you down, my lord. Carter Kim knelt on one knee and said excitedly. As a blacksmith, he naturally knew how precious such a treasure was. Moreover, the Lord actually gave this treasure to him without hesitation. It could be seen how much trust the Lord had in him. He must not disappoint his Lord. Carter Kim thought silently. Zhou did not say anything. He helped him up and chatted with him for a while before letting him leave. When he turned around, he realized that old Zhou had gone back to cooking. Zhou. He shook his head, unconcerned, and looked at the third item. It was a skill book. However, it was not an ordinary skill book. It was a hero skill book. Heroic skills? Can I learn even if I'm not a hero? Zhou was puzzled. Then, he picked it up and looked at it. Hero skill. Summon Dragon Horse level. Yellow gold tier intermediate grade, Summon Dragon Horse, skill effect. The user awakens the Golden Dragon bloodline in his body and summons a dragon horse with the Golden Dragon bloodline as his mount to fight with the user. Summon Dragon Horse? Isn't that the same as Wu Xian's hero skill? Dragon Horse Summon Blinding Light? Zhou raised his eyebrows. But then again, he had yet to have an official mount. Nazario and Auguste were both willing to let him be a Dragon Knight, but Zhou had always treated them as friends, so he rarely flew on them unless it was an emergency. Most of the time, he used mechanostriders that could fly to travel, or they could travel directly with the soldiers. It did not expect. This time, the merchandise directly gave him a hero skill. If he could really master this hero skill, it would be a good help to him. Whether it was riding on the road, flying in the air, or fighting alongside its master, the dragon horse was quite powerful in all three aspects. Still, I'm not a hero. I can't learn this hero skill, right? Zhou looked up at Zhou Chengmin. When Zhou Chengmin heard this, he chuckled as he added salt. Normally, it wouldn't work. However, this is the Lord shop. The goods that appear in the Lord shop are all prepared for you, Lord, so you can naturally learn them. I see. You are putting too much salt in it, Zhou said. Zhou Chengmin looked at his half-empty salt bag and then at the stainless steel pot that was sprinkled with salt. His face froze. How much are these three goods? Zhou's voice sounded. The first product is worth 10 black iron tier mist cores. The second item is worth 10 extraordinary tier mist cores and 1 extraordinary tier territory token. The third item is worth 20 extraordinary tier mist cores and 2 extraordinary tier territory tokens. Zhou Chengmin decisively gave up on the dish and walked to the counter. So cheap, compared to the previous 2 items. Zhou sighed with emotion. However, when he thought of the hundreds of legendary tier mist cores in his heavenly mist treasure bag, Zhou felt a little helpless. To think that he had prepared so many legendary tier mist cores. He thought that he could buy them all. What a waste of my sense of anticipation. I want the inheritance book that has already been taken away and this hero skill book. Zhou took out 33 legendary tier mist cores and placed them on the counter. Thank you for your business. Zhou Chengmin chuckled and put away the mist core. Zhou nodded and did not say anything else. He directly learned this hero skill. After he finished learning, he suddenly had a feeling that his bloodline seemed to be connected to something. Zhou closed his eyes. Gradually, His body emitted a faint golden light. Golden dragon scales and golden light appeared on his body. Soon, the golden light suddenly left his body and formed a golden door that was 3 to 4 meters tall in front of him. A dragon horse that was emitting a dazzling golden light and covered in golden dragon scales jumped out and landed beside Zhou. Then, it circled around Zhou as if it was trying to please him, occasionally letting out a cheerful cry. When Zhou opened his eyes, he saw this scene. He smiled and stroked the dragon horse. When the dragon horse saw this, it stood quietly on the spot and allowed its master to stroke it. Wu Xian's dragon horse is called Blinding Light. You shall be called Blazing Sun. Zhou looked at the other party's resplendent figure and immediately thought of this name. At the same time, just as he finished naming, the hero skill, Summoning Dragon Horse in his skill pane immediately blurred for a second before turning into Hero Skill. Summoning Dragon Horse, Blazing Sun. When Blazing Sun heard his master's words, he cried out excitedly again. At the same time, he kept stepping on the ground with his golden hooves. Clearly, he was very satisfied with this name. Zhou smiled when he saw this. Then, he mounted his horse and rushed towards the army base. Legion Base. After Zhou and the others arrived, the blazing sun under his command immediately attracted the attention of countless people. Is this the Lord's mount? It's similar to Lord Wu Xian's Blinding Light. Why do I feel that his lordship's horse is better looking than Blinding Light's? The light on Blinding Light's body is not as dazzling as this horse. It does seem brighter. Baiyun, Wu Xian, and the others also saw Blazing Sunday Xiaoxian had come with them. My lord, this should also be a dragon horse, right? Moreover, it's also a dragon horse with the golden dragon bloodline. Wu Xian marveled. He, who had the bloodline of the golden dragon, could feel it. The potential of this dragon horse should be much higher than his blinding light. Zhou, who had already dismounted from his horse, nodded with a smile as he held the reins. This dragon horse is so beautiful. Xiaoxian looked at the blazing sun with sparkling eyes. It's called Blazing Sunday. Zhou smiled. He looked at Xiaoxian and suddenly had an idea. This little guy was the possessor of the blessed star talent. If he brought it to the final battlefield, it might have an unexpected effect. When he thought of this, he immediately asked if the other party was willing to go with him. Xiaoxian was naturally adventurous. He immediately nodded in excitement and agreed. Zhou smiled and nodded. Then, he looked at Wu Xian and asked, Are the soldiers ready? Everything's ready. Baiyun, Wu Xian, and the others immediately said solemnly. Zhou acknowledged. Next, they were just waiting for the final battlefield to open. He opened the world channel and read the Lord's message while waiting for the final battlefield to open. At this moment, more lords on the world channel had already decided to go to the final battlefield. Only a few lords were still conflicted. Just like Zhou, these lords who were preparing to go were all nervous, excited, and expectant as they waited for the battlefield of the end to begin. Time passed slowly. When 6 o'clock arrived, Zhou clicked on the icon of the final battlefield in the Lord Battlefield function without hesitation and prepared to enter it. A line of blood-colored text appeared. Please choose the territory subordinates and territory props you want to bring along. The next second, a virtual screen appeared in front of Zhou. It showed the territory subordinates and territory items that he could carry. That includes his 500,000 soldiers, Carol Moira from the shelter of the Goddess of Life, various supplies, such as health potions, energy potions, golden corpse water, mist energy cannons for war machines, and even the fragments of the Chaos Energy airdrop gun carriage that he had previously seized. Is it like the Lord Battlefield? Zhou raised his eyebrows. Then, he began to choose the subordinates and items he wanted to take away without thinking too much. First of all, the Blazing Sun Army and the Monster Army had to be brought along. However, he naturally would not bring all 510,000 soldiers. After all, he still had to leave some soldiers to protect Blazing Sun City and Kingdom Beginning City. After thinking for a while, Zhou chose to bring 300,000 soldiers. Among them were 100,000 Black Iron Tier soldiers, 100,000 Green Bronze Tier soldiers, 50,000 White Silver Tier soldiers, 40,000 yellow gold tier soldiers, 10,000 white platinum tier soldiers, 100 diamond tier soldiers, and 5 extraordinary tier soldiers. A total of 300,105 soldiers. These were most of the elite soldiers under his command. The remaining 200,000 soldiers stayed behind to guard Blazing Sun City and Kingdom Beginning City. They were in charge of protecting his territory and dealing with unexpected situations. Then, he chose the 800 clergy of the shelter led by Carol Moali. They were responsible for the soldiers' treatment and resurrection. After them were Nazario, Auguste, Bayun, Wu Xian, Feng Luo, and the other elites of the Blazing Sun. After that, Zhou chose a large number of subordinates and items, such as the Starry Night, the Mechanostrider, the Faith Divine Crystal, the Alchemy Telescope, the Life Potion, the Energy Potion, and other items, to prepare for any unexpected situations that might occur in the final battlefield. In the end, he searched for a long time and realized that there was no Aurora Kingdom Tower. It seems that the Aurora Kingdom Tower has been recognized as a territory building by the Supreme Will. It can't leave the territory and be brought to the final battlefield. Zhou thought regretfully. If the duration of the final battlefield was longer, Zhou would have wanted Zhao Chong to guard the final battlefield and create the Aurora Kingdom Tower on the spot. However, 3 days was too short. He could only give up on this idea. Then, he checked the territory subordinates and leaders' props he brought one last time. After confirming that there were no missing people and props, he clicked on the confirmation below. The next second, a text notification appeared, entering the final battlefield. At the same time, Zhou, Nazario, Auguste, Bayun, Wu Xian, Feng Luo, and the group of soldiers and supplies suddenly disappeared. The final battlefield. A blood-red sun hung high in the sky. Heaven and earth were covered in blood. On the ground, the remains of countless machines, the skeletons of living beings that were in a miserable state, and the blood-filled black and red river of blood. When Zhou and the others descended into this world, they saw this spectacular scene. What a strong smell of blood. Bayun frowned slightly. She was now a general who had experienced hundreds of thousands of wars. In the face of an ordinary bloody scene, she could already be indifferent. But in this world, it was naturally not something that could be created by a simple battle between hundreds of thousands of life forms. It was probably only the death of trillions of life forms that could create such a blood-colored world. In front of Bayun, Zhou was looking at the text notification in front of him. You have already relocated to the final battlefield. The final battlefield's ranking has been activated. Your Lord Battlefield rank is Mythical Tier Advanced Grade, 160 points. Conversion in progress. Conversion successful. Your basic ranking points for the final battlefield are 11.6 billion yuan. It's starting. Zhou looked at his basic ranking points and thought to himself. With a thought, he summoned the rankings of the final battlefield. He looked over. Original Spirit Race, True Lord Level, 12,150,000,000. The final battlefield ranking. First, Chaos Gods Race, Great One Lord Level, 11,950,000,000. The final battlefield ranking. Second, Cerulean Planet Human Race, Lord of the Blazing Sun, Level, 11.6 billion. Ranking on the final battlefield. Third, Shepherd's God Race, Heaven Chasing Lord, rank, 11.5 billion. The final battlefield ranking. Fourth, it's temporarily the same ranking as the Lord Battlefield. However, after today, it should change drastically. Zhou thought. He closed the rankings and looked around. Soon he saw something. He took a dozen steps forward, then squatted down and picked up a blood-colored crescent-shaped weapon from under his feet. This weapon was very complete and looked like it had been left behind by an expert. The blood on it made Zhou feel a faint pressure just by approaching it. This battlefield had probably been around for countless years. However, the blood still had a suppressive aura. It could be seen how terrifying the owner of the blood must have been when he was alive. However, before Zhou could take a second look, he saw the weapon that looked like a crescent moon shovel gradually disintegrate into countless powder. It passed through the gaps between his fingers and landed on the ground. Zhou raised his eyebrows. He got the soldiers to check the blood-colored weapons scattered around him and found that these blood-colored weapons could still remain the same when no one touched them. However, once a life form picked it up, it would immediately turn into dust and dissipate. What a pity! If these weapons and equipment can still be used, just picking up these weapons and equipment will be enough to make me rich. After Zhou knew the results of the soldiers, he felt that it was a pity. Ha! At this moment, he looked at a forest in the distance. With his powerful six senses, he could clearly sense that there were about 10,000 life forms gathered in the forest. However, the other party seemed to want to hide himself, so his vital signs were hidden very well. If not for the fact that his six senses from the chaos human race were too powerful, he might not have discovered them. There are about 10,000 unknown lords there. His strength is average. Destroy them. Zhou transmitted his voice to Baiyun and Wu Xian. Since he had come to the final battlefield, Zhou did not intend to be soft-hearted. What's more, the other party did not choose to retreat quietly. Instead, they hid there secretly. It was not impossible that they did not have the intention to secretly find an opportunity to ambush them, even though the possibility was very small. However, Zhou naturally did not want to tolerate a group of people of foreign race life forms wandering under his nose. He would kill anyone if he had to in this place unless it was a life form of the same race. Zhou would not show mercy. One of them had the ghost god military morale and the other had the desired military morale. Upon hearing their lord's order, they naturally communicated with their subordinates through mental communication without hesitation. Then, 5,000 yellow gold-level violent storm spirits suddenly summoned wind spirits and thunder spirits and began to control the wind and thunder. Not long after, a total of 5,000 death violent storms suddenly descended in the area Zhou had specified. Hoo. Right on the heels of that, a large number of screams and wails could be heard as blue blood splattered everywhere. Blue-skinned life forms that were 2 to 3 meters tall were swept up by the violent storm and died in it. Lines of kill notifications appeared in front of Zhou. Your subject violent storm spirit, Zhao killed a green bronze tier intermediate grade blue blood clan member. Promotion energy plus 40. Loots condensed. Blessing of the war god. Your subject's violent storm spirit, Zhao has received an additional 800 points of promotion energy. Your subject violent storm spirit Sun Anxuan killed a white-silver tier advance grade blue blood race member. Promotion energy plus 200. Loots condensed. Blessing from God of War. Your leader storm spirit Zhao gets an extra 4,000 points of promotion energy. Your subject violent storm spirit Wang Han killed a yellow gold elementary grade blue blood lord. Lord Lan Yu, Lord of all races. Plus 3,000 promotion energy. Loots condensed. Blessing of the war god. Your subject violent storm spirit, Wang Han, has received an additional 60,000 promotion energy points. Congratulations, Lord of the Blazing Sun, for successfully killing the Lord of the Blue Blood race. Lord Lan Yu, Lord of all races. The Lord's rank is yellow gold tier intermediate grade. You have obtained 5,000 basic ranking points in the final battlefield. Soon, the more than 10,000 blue blood life forms were all killed by the violent storm spirit. When Zhou saw this, he looked at his ranking. Naturally, there were no changes. He walked forward and came to the corpse of a blue blood clan member who was obviously much taller than the other blue blood clan members. Zhou looked at him. A text notification appeared. Item name: Blue Blood Lord, Lord Lan Yu's corpse. Item level: yellow gold tier elementary grade. Item effect: contains unextracted loots. Item description: Lord of the myriad races killed by the soldiers of Blazing Sun City. Loots drop rate: 5 yellow gold tier mist core. Drop rate: 100%. 1 origin crystal. Drop rate: 100%. 1 yellow gold tier elementary grade equipment jade spirit spear. Drop rate: 10%. 1 yellow gold tier elementary grade skill book. Flying. Drop rate: 5%. 1 yellow gold tier elementary grade skill book, Shadowless Spear Skill. Drop rate, 4%. 1 yellow gold tier elementary grade bloodline, blue bloodline, drop rate, 3%. 1 shallow faith tier elementary grade skill crystal, drop rate, 1%. 1 racial growth skill book, telekinesis, drop rate, 0.01%. 1 white platinum tier advanced grade racial talent sphere, drop rate, 0.0001%. 6 black iron tier lord talent crystal fragments, drop rate, 0%. After Zhou saw the spoils of war, a smile appeared on his face. It was actually a race lord with bloodline loots. It might just be a yellow gold tier elementary grade bloodline, but there would still be meat on a mosquito's leg. The final battlefield was dangerous, but if he was lucky, it would be a top-grade treasure land for him. After all, the lords who dared to come here more or less had some ability or were from extraordinary races. And a lord of such an extraordinary race was the best nourishment for him to increase the level of his chaos human bloodline. Zhou placed his hand on his corpse. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots. Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained perfect loots, 6 mist cores, white platinum tier, 1 origin crystal, 1 equipment, 3 patterned bloodjade spear, white platinum tier elementary grade, 1 flying skill book, white platinum tier elementary grade, 1 multiple shadowless spear skill book, white platinum tier elementary grade, 1 blue blood race bloodline, white platinum tier elementary grade, 1 faith divine crystal, true faith tier, 1 race skill book, telekinesis, enhanceable, 1 race talent ball, diamond tier advanced grade, 7 lord talent fragment, green bronze, whoosh, the lord of the blue blood clan, who had just entered the final battlefield, turned into countless loots and dropped at Zhou's feet. He began to inspect the loots. Among them were the Mist Core, Origin Crystal, Faith Divine Crystal, Lord Talent Crystal Fragment, Skill Book, and other items. Needless to say, Zhou put them away. Zhou only valued the blue blood race bloodline and the blue blood race skill and race talent. He looked over. Bloodline name, blue blood race bloodline level, white platinum tier elementary grade bloodline effect. After absorbing it, the user can obtain the white platinum tier elementary grade bloodline, blue blood race bloodline. After fusing with this bloodline, the user will gradually awaken some of the blue blood race's racial abilities during the growth process. Prompt: by fusing 100 white platinum tier elementary grade blue bloodline, you can obtain 1 diamond tier elementary grade 3rd class blue bloodline. Chaos Human Race's bloodline optimization notice. After the Chaos Humans absorb it, they can remove the characteristics of the blue blood race's physique that is slightly heat resistant. Racial skill name, telekinesis, skill quality, enhanceable, skill description. A life form of a race with this racial skill can transform the mental strength in their minds into telekinesis that can control matter in reality and move things through space. Treasure name, racial talent sphere, intermediate grade mental potential, treasure grade, diamond tier advanced grade, treasure effect. After using it, you can greatly increase your current mental strength and obtain intermediate grade mental potential talent. This talent can allow your mental potential to far exceed ordinary living beings. Every time you make a breakthrough in mental strength, you can always obtain a higher upper limit of mental strength. Treasure description, the racial talent of a 3rd class blue-blooded noble. After using it, you will have the racial talent of that race. Note: this talent's breakthrough buff will last until you break through to diamond tier advanced grade. Intermediate grade mental potential? When Zhou saw this race talent, he was immediately pleasantly surprised. He had already grasped elementary grade mental potential a long time ago. However, for a long time after that, he did not have any channels to obtain the subsequent high-level potential talent. As time passed, he almost forgot about this talent. He did not expect to meet her today. But even so, he did not learn it. This was because he was about to absorb the bloodline of the blue blood race. At that time, he would naturally awaken the intermediate grade mental potential talent. Talents could not be stacked with enhancement. Therefore, he gave up on studying. Wouldn't it be better for him to awaken directly? At this moment, the soldiers on the battlefield were using the 1000 yellow gold tier advanced grade conquerors blast furnaces that they had purchased not long ago to retrieve their loots. In less than a moment, the extraction of the 10,000 blue blood corpses was complete. He did not say much about the other loots. Just the blue blood race bloodline, racial talent and racial skill alone had dropped 11,236 copies. Zhou first fused 100 portions of the blue blood bloodline and obtained a third-class blue blood bloodline of the lower diamond level. Then, he fused 9,900 portions of the blue-blooded race's bloodline and obtained a second-class blue-blooded race bloodline that was inferior to the extraordinary tier. If he wanted to improve further, he would need 990,000 portions of the blue blood race's bloodline. Zhou naturally did not have that much blue blood bloodline, so he chose to absorb it directly. You have absorbed one portion of second-class blue blood noble bloodline, extraordinary tier elementary grade. Your chaos human bloodline has unearthed more potential and advanced to the yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Your sixth senses ability has been strengthened. You have awakened extraordinary tier advanced grade second-class blue-blooded noble talent. Advanced mental potential. You have awakened extraordinary tier advanced grade second-class blue-blooded noble talent. Low-level telepathy. Your racial talent, advanced mental potential, extraordinary tier advanced grade, has been enhanced by the chaos human bloodline and has been upgraded to special mental potential, epic tier advanced grade. Your racial talent, low-level telepathy, extraordinary tier advance grade, has been enhanced by the chaos human bloodline and has been promoted to advanced telepathy, epic tier advanced grade. You have mastered the enhanceable racial skill, telekinesis. Zhou closed his eyes and silently felt the transformation brought about by this bloodline. After a long time, he opened his eyes. He looked around and had an idea. The next second, countless weapons and equipment within a radius of 1,000 meters floated up and quietly floated in the air. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. His mental strength had now reached the standard that could be used in actual combat. He could even rely on the telekinesis transformed from his spiritual power to support himself and fly. He could also control a large number of items to float in the air like now. He had another thought. These floating weapons and equipment fell to the ground one after another and collapsed into countless sand and dust that blew away with the wind. Then, Zhou looked at the text notification displayed by the bloodline upgrade. He frowned slightly after reading it. An extraordinary tier elementary grade bloodline can only increase my chaos human race bloodline by a small level to reach the intermediate yellow gold tier grade? Zhou clicked his tongue. It was a little ridiculous. It was an extraordinary tier bloodline after all. Why was the improvement effect so bad? It seemed that he still had a long and difficult way to go before he could improve his chaotic human race bloodline. However, he did not care about the increase in the chaos human bloodline level. The racial talent and racial skills that he had awakened during the process of absorbing the second-class blue-blooded noble bloodline were quite good. He had just experimented with telekinesis. Its skill profile information was similar to the telekinesis profile information he had seen previously, but it was naturally much stronger compared to third-class blue-blood nobles and ordinary blue-blooded blood clansmen. As for the talents of the other two races, they had also received a huge increase. Race talent name, special mental potential, race talent grade, epic tier advanced grade, treasure effect. After using it, you can greatly increase your current mental strength and obtain elementary grade mental potential talent. This talent can allow your mental potential to far exceed ordinary living beings. Every time you make a breakthrough in mental strength, you can always obtain a higher upper limit of mental strength. Introduction: the racial talent of a second-class blue-blooded noble. Later on, due to the influence of the chaos human bloodline, it was greatly promoted. It has higher potential and stronger abilities. Note: this talent's breakthrough buff will last until you break through to Diamond Tier Advanced Grade. Race talent name: Advanced Telepathy, Race Talent Grade. Epic Tier Advanced Grade, Race Talent Effect. When you focus on a certain life form, you can clearly sense what the other party is thinking. Introduction. The racial talent of a second-class blue-blooded noble. It is also the most common method they use to rule other normal race subjects. Under the influence of the chaos human bloodline, they have been greatly promoted, and their perception effect has greatly increased. Zhou nodded in satisfaction after reading it. The final battlefield was indeed a treasure land for him to increase the level of his chaotic bloodline, race talent, and racial skills. He had just arrived here and had already raised his bloodline by a small level. Moreover, he had obtained such a practical racial ability. 3 days later, his improvement would probably be incomparably shocking. Still, there was a prerequisite here. He had to survive in this world. If he accidentally died in this bloody world, then everything would be empty talk. Thinking of this, Zhou's excited mood gradually cooled down, and he resumed his cautious state. At this moment, Baiyun walked over with a list of loots. Zhou took it and glanced at it before returning it to the other party. I don't need a list of reports without a fight. When we return to the territory, just give me a general report list, he said. Yes, my lord, Baiyun said respectfully. These guys are really unlucky. I didn't even have time to use my abilities before they died. Feng Luo walked over with a smile. He had just gone to help retrieve the loots, so he knew that these blue bloods were good at spiritual strength. In the end, they died before he could even fight them head-on. Feng Luo wanted to laugh at the thought of it. This is the result of overestimating one's capabilities. Zhou said calmly. The surrounding generals nodded. What do you think of our next move? Zhou looked at Baiyun and Wu Xian and asked. Baiyun pondered for a few seconds and said, I feel that this is a dangerous place that we have never set foot in before. It's best if we stay here for the time being. Then we'll send troops to investigate the surroundings. After we understand the surrounding environment, we'll make plans. Zhou nodded. He also felt that Baiyun's method was the most reliable. The other generals had no objections. Seeing that they had a unanimous opinion, Zhou called Wu Tu over. Greetings, my lord, Wu Tu said respectfully. He had returned last night with a map of the surrounding area that he had explored during this period of time. However, today was the opening day of the final battlefield. Zhou only took a few glances at it and did not look at it anymore. The current Wu Tu was already a white platinum tier advanced grade cartographer. Moreover, after he had changed his profession to the violent storm spirit, his strength was now at the white platinum elementary grade. In addition, the heavenly army under his command had already reached 5,000 men. He could be considered an important general with both strength and power in Zhou's territory. Wu Tuesday, I order you to lead all the soldiers of the heavenly army under your command to investigate the environment within a radius of 50 kilometers. Don't be too far away from us. If there's any danger, come back immediately. If you encounter an enemy, try not to clash with them. Zhou said. Yes, my lord, Wu Tu said respectfully. There was no fear on his face. He, who had drawn countless regional maps for his lord, had long developed a calm mentality. Even if the final battlefield looked strange and terrifying, he would not be afraid of it. Zhou nodded. A moment later, 5,000 white silver-tier elementary-grade mechanostriders broke away from the soldiers and ran in all directions. Because Wu Xian had activated Silent March for them, they did not even make a sound as they ran. Soon, they completely merged into the final battlefield. Even though Wu Tu is still young, I feel that he is becoming more and more reliable, Baiyun exclaimed when she saw this scene. Wu Tu and his heavenly army contributed greatly to the development of our territory today, Wu Xian added. The others nodded. Zhou agreed in his heart. Wu Tu and his heavenly army could be said to be the profession guides to conquer their territory. Without a guide, they wouldn't dare to recklessly attack other regional territories, so they naturally wouldn't have their current achievements. Half an hour later, Wu Tu and the others returned with a map. My lord, this is the map we just made, Wu Tu said respectfully. Zhou took it and opened it. He realized that it was a map that covered a radius of 1,000 kilometers. It sounded like an exaggeration. However, Zhou knew that the white silver-tier elementary-grade mechanostrider's speed had already reached 2,000 kilometers per hour. At a glance, this data was very normal. Zhou looked at the map in front of him. This map had a detailed map of the surrounding terrain and a red dot. This red dot was about 200 kilometers away from where they were. On the information labeled beside this red dot, it showed that this was the location of a lord of a myriad race. The other party came from a race called the Zheluo race. Zhou, who had the inheritance of the dragon race, knew that this was a normal race. The only characteristic of the race seemed to be that it was easier to adapt to different survival environments. And according to the description on this map, there were only about 5,000 subjects on the other side, and the strongest among them was only a white silver tier advanced grade. There was even less to worry about. Still, there's only one foreign race lord within 1,000 kilometers. The final battlefield is really big. Fortunately, I brought the Starry Night over. Otherwise, I'd have to spend most of my time traveling. Zhou muttered in his heart. Let's go. Get rid of this lord. He pointed at the red dot. Yes, my lord. Baiyun, Wu Xian, and the others naturally had no objections. Then, everyone boarded the Starry Night and flew straight to where the lord of the Zheluo race was. The Starry Night was extremely fast. In less than a minute, it arrived where the Zheluo race was. After that, Zhou did not alight from the spaceship. He only let 10,000 silver rank soldiers take action and easily dealt with the people of foreign races lord. The other party's lord was at the white silver tier elementary grade. So Zhou only obtained 100 basic ranking points in the final battlefield. When they were extracting their spoils of war, Zhou looked at the other party's spoils of war. As expected, not even a single bloodline loots was left behind. It was a very standard normal race. The loots were not of much value. Zhou did not even care about them. When he returned, he could sell them at the marketplace. Actually, the spoils of war of this lord of the Zheluo race were already not bad compared to other people of foreign races. However, Zhou's power was developing too quickly and he had too many good things. Therefore, he looked down on the other party's spoils of war and treated him as a poor lord. After spending about 15 minutes cleaning up the battlefield, Zhou called the 5,000 soldiers back to the Starry Night. Inside the Starry Night, in the command room, "My lord, which direction should we go next?" Baiyun asked. Zhou fell into deep thought. Actually, he could go in any direction. After all, he could not tell which direction was dangerous for the time being. Still, it was better to be safe than sorry. At this thought, Zhou called someone over. "My lord." Xiao Xian was extremely happy when he heard that his lord had called him over. "Come here. Come to me." Zhou waved his hand. Xiao Xian did not think too much about it and went straight to his lord's side. "My lord, what's the matter?" he asked curiously. "We're discussing which direction we should head in next right now. Tell me what you think," Zhou said. As soon as these words were spoken, most of the people present were stunned. It was such an important matter, yet he wanted a child to give an opinion. Wasn't this too childish? Many generals could not help but think. If not for their extremely high loyalty, they would probably be dissatisfied at this moment. However, they did not say anything because of their high levels of loyalty. Instead, they chose to believe that their lord had a reason to do so. Baiyun, Wu Xian, and the others, who knew a little about Xiao Xian's abilities, could vaguely guess what Zhou wanted to do. Xiao Xian did not think too much about it. When he heard Zhou's words, he took the map from Zhou's hand without thinking and looked at it curiously. The path here is strange. It doesn't look like a good place to travel. We should not use it. Even though this place is flat, it's too ordinary. It's not easy for us to come to this alternate world. We should take a good look around and not go here. Other than a lot of blood grass, there's nothing special about this place. I'm not going. Then, here it is. Xiao Xian's eyes lit up as he pointed at a location on the map. His expression was very certain, and it was obvious that he was looking forward to it. Zhou looked over and raised his eyebrows. After Wu Exine looked over, he immediately fell silent. This was because the place that Xiao Xian was pointing at was surprisingly a vast and dense forest. Anyone with a little bit of culture would know better than to enter a forest. Moreover, he had brought a total of 300,000 soldiers this time. If these soldiers entered this dense forest, just the speed of their march would be greatly reduced before considering any possible danger. They must not go to this place. Thinking of this, Bai Yun, Wu Exine, and the other generals looked at Zhou eagerly. Zhou did not seem to notice their gazes as he asked curiously, "Why here?" "Because this place looks mysterious. Maybe there will be a fortuitous encounter," Xiao Xian said. "A fortuitous encounter?" Zhou raised his eyebrows. "Okay. Then let's head in this direction," Zhou ordered decisively. He decided to trust his blessing of the god of fortune and danger prediction. As the owner of these two talents, Xiao Xian's suggestion was relatively more reliable since he did not know where to go. Not to mention that there was a possibility of fortuitous encounters on this path. When the other generals heard this, they were even more shocked. His lordship actually agreed. They had all sorts of thoughts in their minds, but none of them questioned Zhou's decision. They believed that the Lord must have his own reasons. They only needed to follow. "Yes, my lord." The subordinates received their orders and went to arrange their things. "I'll slow down as we move forward. You can tell me what you want to do along the way. I'll agree to anything you want if I can," Zhou said. In that case, what if they really encountered a fortuitous encounter on the way? At that time, if he could not sense it, Xiao Xian would be able to react in time. When Xiao Xian heard this, no matter how young he was, he could feel his lord's trust in him. Even though he had already vaguely guessed why his lord would do this, as a dead loyal citizen, he did not feel disgusted at all. As the lord's subject, what was wrong with searching for treasures for the lord? Not to mention that the lord was usually so good to him. And now, without a doubt, this was the moment. "All right, my lord," Xiao Xian agreed without any hesitation. Zhou smiled. A moment later, Wu Tu returned with a new map. It was a map in the direction of the dense forest. After Zhou's gaze landed on the map, he quickly saw a red dot. This red dot was different from the one that represented the lords of the myriad races. This was a red dot representing the territory of the fog monsters. When Zhou saw this, he suddenly thought of the 5th battlefield description of the final battlefield. 5. There are very few items in the final battlefield that can be obtained, but all final items are protected by fog monsters. Only by killing fog monsters can you obtain them. Could it be that there's a final item in this fog monster faction? Zhou's heart stirred.